Hey, and welcome to my first video, and just kind of starting a series called Late Night Thoughts, and just kind of more for myself than maybe you guys, but maybe if you are watching this, it'll give you some insights into the mind of someone on the spectrum, or maybe just be able to have someone to listen to and relate to if you yourself are on the spectrum. Not gonna bother editing this because I want this to be as relatable as possible, and editing this to make myself look perfect is not the way I necessarily want to go. This is just kind of sitting back, voicing my own thoughts, my kind of feelings, just kind of laying it all out there for you guys. I hope you guys don't mind or think it's cheesy because, it's not necessarily what I'm going for. You can think it, you're welcome to your own thought, but I don't know. I'm just kind of, I don't know, feeling like I need to get stuff sorted out. And yeah, this is my way to do that. Cause I don't know. I've been thinking more and more, and there's certain things I just want to maybe make people aware of. Kind of spread the word so people aren't as clueless as to what being on the autistic spectrum exactly entails. I'm like you guys. It's not necessarily I'm some, oh my god, who is this person? Like, how do they exist? I'm a pretty simple individual. I'm nothing fancy. I have my fair share of faults and stuff, and I don't know, but I'm not dumb or something like that. Like, everybody has a tendency to believe about autistic individuals, like we're somehow incompetent. It's really not the case. Don't know what. Well, I do know why that stuff gets perpetuated and people end up believing it. Um, but I don't know. Just kind of gets frustrating to deal with. That's probably one of my biggest pet peeves is people not understanding that we're not exactly freaks. That's the idea that gets held quite a bit, is that we're freaks, and that is very much not the case. And I don't know. It's hard to get over because it does hinder my progress in life. I've had so many people kind of dismiss me once they find out I'm autistic, and it can be very disheartening sometimes when that happens. And I get back up and I keep going, and I kind of have a mindset to prove those people wrong, but then there's other people on the spectrum that don't necessarily have the what would I call it? mental fortitude that I do, and it can end up with them either hating themselves or giving up or just using the whole autism as a crutch. And then that leads to more of this just circle of chaos, and it doesn't need to be that way. That's kind of the bad thing, is it never has to be this way. But there's certain individuals out there, I know, it's some people aren't gonna change, but I mean, it'd be nice to make people more aware. I mean, look at this whole ordeal of vaccines causing autism. Why the hell is that such a bad thing? It's like, oh, well, my child's gonna have autism. And most children with autism are average intelligence, or even a decent chunk are above average. I mean, don't understand how that would be a bad thing, but apparently it is. And it can be very disheartening. It makes me sometimes want to give up. And I mean, I know that's bad to do, but kind of want to at certain days. I mean, God, there's certain times where my room is just a mess, because I mean, God, like, I've had some employers that just, whenever I end up quitting, I'm just like, why the hell did I let them put me through that stuff? And I don't know. I feel like they kind of view me as stupid, and I almost have to act stupid, play dumb. Otherwise, they get threatened for some godforsaken reason. I've actually seen people get threatened by someone on the spectrum being intelligent, not this mindless, non-verbal individual that they like to think is what we are. Because it's not. For a lot of us. A lot of us aren't like Rain Man or even Sheldon from The Big Bang. Like, I love watching Sheldon, but there's a problem with that idea. And people watch that show and see that his character portrays autism, and then they get into their head that that's what autism is automatically, that everyone on the spectrum's like that, and it's not. It is so far from that. There are so many different things that happen with people on the spectrum. It's hard to explain, which is why I'm trying, because I mean, I'm probably the best person to explain it, since I mean, I have the know-how for the most part. I mean, I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, I know everything. Nope. God, no. But I mean, definitely more than maybe your average individual. I mean, a lot of times most autistic individuals go with something like mechanics or engineering or mathematics. It not really. I don't see that many go into the mental health field, which is what I'm planning on doing. I plan on becoming an occupational therapist and possibly a special ed teacher. That's what interests me. Um, but I don't know. Like, I would like to get to the point where people are watching this channel and can see past the myths that are perpetuated by society. I mean, I know those are some big words, but that's what fits. I mean, I wouldn't. I don't know how else to word that. I mean, just it's so hard to get it through people's heads that it's not something like cancer where it's very straightforward as to what are symptoms, how it affects us, because it that's the problem. Autism is a spectrum disorder, and also, I mean, I'm very disappointed with the mental health community of trying to classify it all within uh, one classification now. Yes, it is a broad spectrum, and categorizing as autism spectrum disorder can be beneficial in some ways, but I don't necessarily think it's as beneficial as the old way where you had those you had the three different groups, but then you recognize that those three still had the differences and variations and the possibilities, and it was potentially easier for people to get diagnosis for their disability instead of being stuck like I was for 20 years, having psychologists after psychologists refuse to even accept the possibility that I had autism. And I barely made it into the age for diagnosis that would allow me to get government benefits. Because if you get a diagnosis after age 21, you're completely screwed out of government benefits. I mean, any real beneficial ones besides like being able to get on can't remember if it's disability or SSI for us. Um but yeah. I mean, I have an older brother who received a diagnosis after 21, and he can't access any of these government services that he could have if he'd received a diagnosis sooner. I mean, God, you look at stuff like that and you just. It's kind of like, what the fuck are we doing? Pardon my language, but seriously, at this point, this shouldn't be happening. I think, God, not to call out like other movements, but it's frustrating to see other people that are highly discriminated against get better help than we can. I mean, we can't help being autistic. It's genetics. Unless you guys are going to come up with some freaking genetic miracle that uh, prevents us from being autistic, which, I mean, I'm still wouldn't take. I mean, I like the way I am, and I wouldn't change that just because freaking. Oh, I'm not neurotypical. Oh my god. That's. I mean. I don't know. I mean. God, yeah. That's kind of. Kind of losing my mindset. Uh, I apologize if this kind of gets boring. But still trying to figure it out a little bit. My mind flits around that. That's my ADHD. Uh, so I apologize for that. I mean, if you're expecting something very streamlined and coherent, this ain't it, folks. Uh, Very far from it. I mean, I would like to make this a weekly thing. Maybe be able to get questions from you guys and be able to answer them and help educate you, and I don't know, maybe get it spread more and more and more to the possibility where people can actually be benefiting from this channel. I mean, God, I don't have anything for subscribers, but I mean, if you guys just want to kind of spread the word, I mean, this is what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll do some live streams, just kind of walking around town. Maybe have some of my friends on, just so that they can kind of give insight as to what it's like being around me. That way you can have like kind of the inside opinion and then outside. Not just sure how well that would work or how willing they would be. But it's always worth the shot. That's for sure. But kind of just y'all let me know in the comments if you would like to see that, because I would love to make this a regular thing. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be my thoughts on the spectrum and my other disabilities. It can be, I mean, you can ask me questions about cooking, ask me questions about tech. I mean, ask me questions about history. I really don't care. I mean, I'm a jack of all trades. I mean, there's going to be certain topics where you can't exactly ask me because I'm not going to know. But those questions that I can answer, you are fully welcome to ask me about it. But yeah, just let me know again in the comments what you all would think, because it'd be nice. And thank you for watching. Let me know if you got all the way through.